तव कथामृतम् तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः।
ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना. We are studying the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and we have to take up conversations of Saturday, June 2, 1883. Sri Ramakrishna had been invited to visit the homes of his devotees, Balaram, Adhar and Ram in Calcutta. Devotional music had been arranged by Adhar and Ram. The master was accompanied in the carriage by Rakhal, M and others. As they drove along, Sri Ramakrishna said to the devotees, "You see, sin flies away when love of God grows in a man's heart. Even as the water of the reservoir dug in the meadow dries up under the heat of the sun. Under the heat of the sun, the water dries up. So when devotion grows, then sin flies away." But is there, no? One cannot love God if one feels attracted to worldly things, to woman and gold. So it's a mutual thing. If the love to woman and gold is there, devotion will not grow. When devotion grows, worldliness will disappear, sin will disappear. So it tells us that we have to make attempts on both sides. We should try for love of God, and we should try to be away from the desire for woman and gold. And we have known the woman and gold, that is desire for enjoyment of objects and desire for the means for the enjoyment of objects. We have to try to be away from this desire, and we have to try to develop love or devotion for God. Then both will work and sin will fly away. Merely taking the vow of monastic life will not help a man if he is attached to the world. So formal sannyas will not help. Unless the sannyas has grown in the heart, formal change of dress will not do. And Thakur gives a suitable, dirty example for that. It is like swallowing your own spittle after spitting it out on the ground. So you spit out and then swallow is very, very dirty or bad thing. And equivalent is that to take sannyas without giving up attachment to the world. So those who are formal sannyasis without the proper enunciation are here condemned by Thakur, and he is telling us it is like licking one's own spittle thrown on the ground. After a few minutes, the master continued, "The members of the Brahma Samaj do not accept God with forms. Narendra says that God with form is a mere idol. So Narendra had not up till then understood or believed in God with form. So at that point, the narrowness of Brahma Samaj or the Western education had influenced Narendra also, an ideal sadhak. So, how to deal with that? He says further, what? He still goes to the Kali temple. About Thakur. Later on, we should understand Narendra said, because I did not like idol worship, I had to receive all my lessons of life from a person who achieved everything through idol worship. So Naren had to see this contrast and learn the lesson. So still means Narendra could agree up to this point that at the lower stages, in the beginning, one may believe in idols. But as the spirituality grows, one should be beyond that. It should be given up. That was Naren's idea. He did not understand that after growth, the real love comes. So, Thakur has shown that in his life, and that is, Thakur is pointing out how Naren thought then, so that we'll understand how Thakur changed him and changed the world, because the world follows Narendranath. And Thakur changed Narendranath, so he has changed the world. Sri Ramakrishna and his party arrived at Balram's house. So, starts from Balram. Balram, Adar and Ram. Three people had invited him. And Adar and Ram had arranged music. Arrived at Balram's house. Yajnath of Nandan Bagan came to invite the master to his house at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You remember this Yajnath? Just 2-3 days before, in Nandan Bagan, Thakur had gone to somebody's house in Brahma festival. And there his brother Yajnath was there and he had talked with Thakur. So that Yajnath is inviting him now. Sri Ramakrishna agreed to go if he felt well. After Yajnath's departure, he simply came to invite. The master went into an ecstatic mood now and then. He said to the Divine Mother, Mother, what is all this? Stop. What are these things? Thou art showing to me. What is it that thou dost reveal to me through Rakhal and others? The form is disappearing. But mother, what people call man is only a pillowcase, nothing but a pillowcase. Consciousness is thine alone. So Thakur has shown what is idol worship, what is loving a person. So Thakur is seeing God, consciousness only, in the form of image, in the form of temple, in the form of Rakhal. So that is the correct spirit. The modern Brahmajnanis have not tasted thy sweet bliss. So they do not know. Their eyes look dry and so do their faces. So that reflects in the personality. They won't achieve anything without ecstatic love of God. It is a terrible statement. And Thakur made them accept that slowly and gradually. Mother, once I asked thee to give me a companion just like myself. Is that why thou hast given me Rakhal? So these questions and all that is to show that Thakur wanted somebody who believed in consciousness, and he got Rakha. So that much in Balram's house. Huh? The master went to others' house, where arrangements were being made for the kirtan. Many devotees and neighbors had gathered in others' house, others' drawing room, anxious to listen to the master's words. Master to the devotees, both worldliness and liberation depend upon God's will. It is God alone who has kept man in the world in a state of ignorance, and man will be free when God, of his own sweet will, calls him to himself. So, people believe in self-effort, but this is the reality. And to realize this itself is self-effort. Ego is not helpful. So our effort also depends upon God's will. I will tell you an incident. The present head of the Nagpur Ashrama, on the day he accepted presidentship, there was a public function, annual function. I also was there. So he said in public that my Guruji one day told him his pre-monastic name is Yadav Rao. Yadav, remember, you have not come. You have been pulled here. That is the thing. Now I will remember so many things. When Yadav's elder brother Ramrao had joined, Yadav had made a terrible scene, shouting and this and that. And after 2 years, he followed. Much more years. Yes, 2 or 3 years. It is like the mother calling the child at meal time when he is out playing. When the time comes for setting a man free, God makes him seek the company of holy men. So everything is God's will. God makes him seek the holy company. That is the start. Further, it is God who makes him restless for spiritual life. So how Thakur has put everything. No, it is the philosophical explanation. To my mind, it is like this philosophy that God is the Samashti. And from Brahman, Samashti came out. And from Samashti, the individuals have come out. So Samashti is present in every one of us. In every one of us. And sometimes it exerts more force than the Veshti. And then we move Godwards. So this is the Vedantic philosophical explanation. But fact of life is as Thakur said.
Is there any Upanishadic verse similar to this? In Upanishad, is there something similar that God makes us Vyakulata?
Upanishad, there is a verse in the Vedas. That example is given that cow comes back from the forest and it shouts and runs for the calf to drink milk. That is the example given. Oh God, you are like that cow who is calling us. So that is the example given. And we see in Shankar Bhashya, in how many places we get this. Without grace of God, nothing is going to happen. It is God who is calling. So many places. So all philosophy ends there. A neighbor. What kind of restlessness, sir? Master. Like the restlessness, oh, world example from the world, like the restlessness of a clerk who has lost his job. Example, he makes the round of the offices daily and asks whether there is any vacancy. When that restlessness comes, man longs for God. A fop, fop you understand? A rich or non-rich showy man, that is fop. A fop seated comfortably with one leg over the other, chewing bitter leaf and twirling his moustaches, a carefree dandy cannot attain God. So he is explaining restlessness. Never. Can one get this longing for God through frequenting the company of holy men? Because that Thakur had told. Master, yes, it is possible, but not for a confirmed scoundrel. A sannyasi is, example, a sannyasi is kamandalu, that water pot, made of bitter gourd, travels with him to the four great places of pilgrimage. Which are they and why they are four?
Puri, Dwarka.
In India, the four corners of the land are the four places. In east, Puri, Jagannath Puri. In the north, Badri, Kedar. In the west, Dwarka. And in the south, Rameshwar. Because one should not confuse. There is four places of pilgrimage within Himalayas.
Oh.
There also they count four.
What are they?
Gangotri, Yamunotri, Badri and Kedar.
Oh.
When you say Chardham Yatra, generally people think of Himalayas.
Oh.
Four great places of pilgrimage, but still does not lose its bitterness. So some people are like that. Thakur's teaching depends upon facts of life, not theories. The Kirtan began. The musician sang of Sri Krishna's life in Vrindavan. Whose house? Ram. Other. Radha. Friend, I am about to die. Give me back my Krishna. Friend, but Radha, the cloud of Krishna was ready to burst into rain. It was yourself who blew it away with the strong wind of your beak. So, somewhere we heard this previously. You are certainly not happy to see Krishna happy. Or why were you picked? It's typical, Radha. But this pride was not mine. My pride has gone away with him who made me proud. After the music, but this much only is given. Huh? After the music, we got the very essence. After the music, Sri Ramakrishna conversed with the devotees. Master, the gopis worshipped Katyayani in order to be united with Sri Krishna. You know this? In Vrindavan, there is a Devi Katyayani, Durga itself. And it is rule or customary that when the girls grow up, they should worship Katyayani. Now Gopi's mind is on Krishna. So they use this Katyayani, that is how the mind works. They went to Katyayani, worshipped her, and prayed to her, please give us Krishna as our husband. That is the story. So when the love grows, then you use everything towards that. Everyone is under the authority of the Divine Mother, Mahamaya. So Katyayani is a form of Divine Mother, the primal energy. Even the incarnation of God accept the help of Maya to fulfill their mission on earth. And this Maya brings about changes. And so incarnation uses that.
Incarnation use this change. Oh, okay. Okay.
Therefore, they worship the primal energy. Examples. Rama, when the war with Ravana was about to begin, Rama worshipped Chandi.
Arjun also worshipped Durga during Mahabharata.
Yes.
On Krishna's suggestion.
Here, Thakur is turning in a different way. Huh? Don't you see how bitterly Rama wait for Sita? So Sita is the primal energy. Brahman weeps, ensnared in the meshes of Maya. Understood. The connection I could not get here. Vishnu incarnated himself as a sow. So you know, wild boar, pig, in order to kill the demon, Hiranyaksha. After killing the demon, the sow remained quite happy with her young ones. Forgetting her real nature, she was suckling them very contentedly. The gods in heaven could not persuade Vishnu to relinquish his soul's body and return to the celestial regions. One should remember here, female pig.
In Varaha Avatar, is it a female?
हाँ, वराह अवतार हम जो कह रहे हैं ना, वो फीमेल है क्योंकि वो सैकलिंग चल रहा है.
नहीं, यहाँ पे तो है, लेकिन ओरिजिनल जो भागवत स्टोरी है वो फीमेल है.
अब ये तो है ना, वो सैकलिंग का तो है ही ना इंसिडेंट. And returned to the celestial region. He was absorbed in the happiness of his beast form. After consulting among themselves, the gods sent Shiva to the sow. Shiva asked the sow, why have you forgotten yourself? Vishnu replied through the sow's body, why, I am quite happy here. Thereupon, with a stroke of his trident, Shiva destroyed the sow's body and Vishnu went back to heaven. So, this is the Puranic story. Brahman ensnared by Maya. That is what Thakur is showing. Okay. So what lessons we are learning from here? That is what I am thinking. From other's house, Sri Ramakrishna went to Ram's house. Ramchandra Datta, one of the chief householder disciples of the master, one of the chief he is telling, lived in Calcutta. He had been one of the first to announce the master as an incarnation of God. The master had visited his house a number of times and unstintingly praised the devotion and generosity of his beloved disciple. A few of the master's disciples made Ram's house virtually their own dwelling place. Mahapurush Maharaj. And that Nityananda or somebody was there, whom Thakur is telling that not of this place and all that. Ram had arranged a special festival to celebrate the master's visit. The small courtyard was nicely decorated. A Kathak means storyteller, seated on the raised platform was reciting from the Bhagavata when the master arrived. So already it has started. Ram greeted him respectfully and seated him near the reader. The disciple was extremely happy. Disciple means Ram. The Kathak was in the midst of the story of King Harishchandra. This is a Puranic story about Harishchandra's sticking to truth. And the whole story is very, very, very sad. We shall read as it comes. The great king Harishchandra of the Puranas, Harishchandra of the Puranas, actually we do not know. Harishchandra as described in the Puranas.
That is the only source. Is there any other source other than Purana?
No.
Is there any other place where Harishchandra is mentioned other than Purana?
In many Puranas it may be there, but otherwise, why no? There is no history record. It is not in the Vedas. So Purana, Harishchandra of the Purana, was the embodiment of generosity. No one ever went away from him empty-handed. Now this says Vishwamitra, wanting to test the extent of the king's charity, extracted from him a promise to grant any boon that he might ask. Then the sage asked for the gift of the sea-grit world, of which Harishchandra was the king. Sea-grit, you understand? Whole India, the boundary is sea. That is sea-grit.
Sea-grit.
Grit.
Oh.
Bounded by. Without the slightest hesitation, the king gave away his kingdom. In the Puranas, in the dream it happened and Harishchandra kept to that. Then Vishwamitra demanded the auxiliary fee. You understand this? If you make a dhan, then you have to give something extra. Dakshina. So whole world he has given. Now Dakshina from where is it? He is not the king now. Which alone makes charity valid and meritorious. Without Dakshina, dhan is not complete. The Kathak continued his recitation. Vishwamitra said to the king, O king, you have given away the entire world, which was your kingdom. It now belongs to me. You cannot claim any place there. But you may live in Benares, which belongs to Shiva. You understand? Kashi is not in India. Physically it is in India, geographically, but it is the city of Shiva. I shall leave you there with your wife Shaibya and Rohitashva, your son. There you can procure the auxiliary fee that you owe me. The royal family, accompanied by the sage, reached Benares and visited the temple of Shiva. At the very mention of Shiva, the master went into spiritual mood and repeated the holy name several times indistinctly, because he has gone into the mood. Shiva, 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 Shiva. The Kathak continued. The king could not procure the fee and was compelled to sell Shaibya, his royal consort, to a Brahmin. With her went Prince Rohitashva. But since even that was not enough to redeem his pledge to the sage, Harishchandra sold himself to an untouchable who kept a cremation ground. He was ordered to supervise the cremations. One day, while plucking flowers for his Brahmin master, Prince Rohitashva was bitten by a venomous snake and that very night died. The cruel Brahmin would not leave his bed to help the poor mother cremate the body. The night was dark and stormy. Lightning rent the black clouds. Shaibya started for the cremation ground alone, carrying the body of her son in her arms. Smitten with fear and overpowered with grief, the queen filled heaven and earth with her wailing. Arriving at the cremation ground, she did not recognize her husband, who demanded the usual fee for the cremation. Shaibya was penniless and wept bitterly at her unending misfortunes. The impenetrable darkness was illumined only by the terrible flames of the cremation pyres. Above her, the thunder roared, and before her, the uncouth guardian of the cremation ground demanded his fee. She who had once been the queen of the world, sat there with her only child dead and cold on her lap. The devotees burst into tears and loudly lamented this tragic episode of a royal life. And what was the master doing? He was listening to the recital with rapt attention. Teardrops appeared in his eyes and he wiped them away. So he was not as affected as the readers. Because this is the world and the things happen in the world. The Kathak, so that is the point to be noted. The Kathak continued when the queen, wailing bitterly, uttered the name of her husband. Harishchandra at once recognized his wife and son. In the darkness, he did not know, he is demanding his face. Then the two wept for the dead prince. Yet in all these misfortunes, the king never once uttered a word of regret for his charity. Oh, I foolishly did that, not like that. Finally, the sage Vishwamitra appeared and told them that he had only wanted to put the king's charitable impulses to a crucial test. Then, through his spiritual power, the sage brought the prince back to life and returned to the king his lost kingdom. So it ends happily. tasting truthfulness and charity. Sri Ramakrishna asked the Kathak to recite the episode of Uddhava, the friend and devotee of Krishna. You understand? This is too mundane for Thakur, worldly. Truthfulness and charity are all there. But what about devotion? So Thakur asked Kathak to sing about Uddhav, especially Uddhav. You know Uddhav's story a little? Krishna went to Mathura, and Uddhav is his friend and devotee in Mathura. And Uddhav is a philosopher by nature. And Krishna is describing that I am continuously thinking of the gopis. They are suffering for me and all that. So Uddhav said, why should it be like that? Why should it be like that? So Krishna wanted that Uddhav should learn a lesson of love and how the lover feels for God. So he said, you do one thing, you go and teach them that your weeping is wrong and how you should philosophically feel Krishna. That is the story. And Uddhav goes there. When Uddhav arrived at Vrindavan, the gopis and cowherd boys ran to him eagerly and asked him, because he is coming from Krishna, how is our Krishna? Has he forgotten us altogether? Doesn't he even speak our names? So saying, some of them wept. Others accompanied him to various places in Vrindavan, still filled with Krishna's sweet memory. They said, here it was that Krishna lifted up Mount Govardhan. This story, they used to worship Indra, the god of rains, as a thanksgiving. And Krishna stopped that. Krishna said that we get everything from this hill of Govardhan. So why not worship Govardhan? And they agreed. And then Indra was upset. So he sent torrential rains. Then Krishna lifted Govardhan on a finger of his hand. And using that as an umbrella, the whole people stood below that. Then Indra had to surrender to Krishna. That is the whole story. And here he killed the demon sent by the evil-minded Kamsa. Kamsa was Krishna's maternal uncle, but there was a voice from heaven that the eighth son of your sister Devaki will kill you. He is your enemy. And so he was already cruel, evil-minded. And he could not find Krishna. So he thought that I will kill everybody in Vrindavan. And he sent demon after demon. And Krishna killed those demons. In this meadow, he tended his cows. Here on the bank of the Yamuna. So non-Indians or Indian, they have to understand this story. That is I am telling. He sported with the gopis. Here he played with the cowherd boys. And here in these groves, he met the gopis secretly. Uddhav said to them, why are you so grief-stricken at Krishna's absence? He resides in all beings as their indwelling spirit. He is God himself, and nothing can exist without God. But, said the gopis, we do not understand all that. We can neither read nor write. We know only our Krishna of Vrindavan, who played with us here in so many ways. Uddhava said, Krishna is God himself. By meditating on him, man escapes from birth and death in the world and attains liberation. The gopis said, we do not understand big words like liberation. We want to see the Krishna of our hearts. So, love. The master listened to the story from the Bhagavata with great attention and said at last, yes, the gopis were right. So, loving God is the essence of life. That is what Thakur is showing. Then he sang, Thakur sang, Though I am never loath to grant salvation, I hesitate indeed to grant pure love. By pure love, Bhagavan becomes bound. Whoever wins pure love surpasses all. He is adored by men. He triumphs over the three worlds. Listen, Chandravali. So Krishna is telling Chandravali. When I thought of Chandravali, Chandravali the Kamarada, I shall tell you of love. Mukti a man may gain, but rare is bhakti. Solely for pure love's sake did I become king. No, this is Bengali English spelling. Anybody non-Bengali will read it as Vali. And Vali is a character in Ramayana. And this is Bali, the Asura king. So we would transcribe it by putting B, not V. Did I become King Bali's good doorkeeper? This story we heard the other day, that Bali was the Asura king. He was very benevolent, devotee of God, and very good king to his devotees, to his praja. But the Devas became jealous. They wanted that kingdom. Because of his all this, he will get our Swargas. So they requested Bhagavan Vishnu to do something. So Vishnu came there, and when Bali was in the process of giving dana, then he approached. And what do you want? I want 3 steps of land. His Guru Shukracharya understood, and he did not want to give. Bali also understood, but he happily gave because he has been asked. And then 1 step earth, 1 step heaven, then where should I keep the 3rd step? So Bali said, keep on my head. So God pushed Bali to Patal Lok. But then God said to Bali, you ask something, I will grant it. Bali said, you become my doorkeeper. So this is all due to love. Solely for pure love's sake did I become King Bali's doorkeeper, down in this realm in the nether world, Patal. Alone in Vrindavan can pure love be found. In secret, none but the gopis and gopas and gopis know. So both the men and women of Vrindavan. You have gone to Vrindavan? Even today, the Vrindavan residents are very simple-hearted and love God. For pure love's sake, I dwelt in Nanda's house. Nanda is his foster father. Taking him as my father, I carried his burden on my head. I think he carried his shoes sometimes, or they transmigrated from one place to other. Then his belongings Krishna carried on head. The master said to the Kathak, the gopis had ecstatic love, unswerving and single-minded devotion to one ideal. Do you know the meaning of devotion? That is not loyal to one ideal. Oh, do you know the meaning of devotion that is not loyal to one ideal? It is devotion tinged with intellectual knowledge. It makes one feel Krishna has become all these. He alone is the Supreme Brahman. He is Rama, Shiva and Shakti. But the element of knowledge is not present in ecstatic love of God. Understood? Premonmatta. Once Hanuman came to Dwaraka and wanted to see Sita and Ram. Krishna said to Rukmini, his queen, you had better assume the form of Sita, otherwise there will be no escape from the hands of Hanuman. Ekanishta and all that is explaining. These are all stories of love and devotion. Don't put any tarka there. Once the Pandava brothers performed the Rajasuya sacrifice, all the kings placed Yudhishthira on the royal throne and bowed low before him in homage. But Vibhishana, the king of Ceylon, said, Sri Lanka, I bow down to Narayana and to none else. At these words, the Lord Krishna bowed down to Yudhishthira. That is recognized. Only then did Bhishma prostrate himself, crown and all, before him.
Vibhishan.
Huh?
Vibhishan prostrated.
Krishna is his Rama, that is known. Now Krishna prostrated to Yudhishthira, so Vibhishana also prostrated. Crown and all. Do you know what devotion to one ideal is like? Now he is describing. First we said non-ideal, now one ideal. It is like the attitude of a daughter-in-law in the family. We had read that somewhere. She served all the members of the family, her brother-in-law, father-in-law, husband and so forth, bringing them water to wash their feet, all the other old customs. Fetching their towels, arranging their seats and the like. But with her husband, she has a special relationship. So now Thakur is explaining that he does not hate other gods. He has a respect, but especially to his Ishta. And all this is talking about ecstatic love. Prema Bhakti there, no? There are two elements in this ecstatic love, I-ness and my-ness. Yashoda used to think, who would look after Gopala if I did not? He will fall ill if I do not serve him. That means our I and my are given to the world. I to this body and my to asakti in the world. That becomes transferred to Krishna, God. The other element is my-ness. It means to look on God as one's own, my Gopala. Uddhava story is going on in between. Uddhava said to Yashoda, Mother, your Krishna is God himself. He is the Lord of the universe and not a common human being. Oh, exclaimed Yashoda. I am not asking you about your Lord of the universe. I want to know how my Gopala fares. Not the Lord of the universe, but my Gopala. His Thakur's descriptions are supreme. He has drawn out from all the Puranas how faithful to Krishna the gopis were. After many entreaties to the doorkeeper, the gopis entered the royal court in Mathura, where Krishna was seated as king. The doorkeeper took them to him But at the sight of King Krishna wearing the royal turban, the gopis bent down their heads and said among themselves, "Who is this man with a turban on his head? Shall we violate our chaste love for Krishna by talking to him, which is our beloved Krishna, with the yellow robe and the bewitching crest with the peacock feather?" Did you observe the single-minded love of the gopis for Krishna? The ideal of Vrindavan is unique. I am told that the people of Dwaraka worship Krishna, the companion of Arjuna, but reject Radha. In Dwaraka there is no Radha. No? A devotee, which is better, ecstatic love or love mixed with knowledge? Because this appears mad, irrational, so he has asked this question. Master, it is not possible to develop ecstatic love of God unless you love Him very deeply and regard Him as your very own. So depth only defines this ecstatic love. Listen to a story. Nagpur has all stories. Once three friends were going through a forest when a tiger suddenly appeared before them. "Brothers," one of them exclaimed, "we are lost." "Why should you say that?" said the second friend. "Why should we be lost? Come, let us pray to God." The third friend said, "No, why should we trouble God about it? Come, let us climb this tree." So, pray to God is that bhakti mixed with knowledge. And in ecstatic love, we climb the. So we don't think of God for our worldly needs. The friend who said we are lost did not know that there is a God who is our protector. The friend who asked the others to pray to God was a jnani. He was aware that God is the creator, preserver, and destroyer of the world. The third friend who didn't want to trouble God with prayers and suggested climbing the tree had ecstatic love of God. So comparatively, Thakur has described through this story. It is the very nature of such love that it makes a man think himself stronger than his beloved. Very rare these things. We have already heard about Yashoda and all that. He is always alert lest his beloved should suffer. The one desire of his life is to keep his beloved from even being pricked in the foot by a thorn. There is another story told by Thakur Parab. Krishna and Arjuna were going somewhere and they met a man who appeared full of devotion, but he had some knife in his hand. "Where are you keeping this knife?" He said, "I want to hit that Draupadi. She troubled him for cloth. And I want to hit someone more name. And I want to hit that Arjuna who made God as the charioteer." Rama served the master and the devotees with delicious sweets. Oh, the chapter ends there. So today, what we learned, in one place I could not find the connection. Nah? Go back. Where?
The Katyayani Puja and Varaha Avatar.
Kathāmrita Puja understood clearly.
After that, Varaha Avatar.
Varaha Avatar. what he wanted to show through that. Therefore, Brahman weeps.
The Panchabhute Fade Brahma Pode Kande.
Huh?
Last line of the previous paragraph.
Brahman weeps ensnared in the meshes of Maya.
So, example of that maybe.
No, but what is that itself?
That Rama was crying for Sita.
What do we have to do with that?
Be very careful.
The general topic is God himself worships Mahamaya, or God himself takes Mahamaya to help him in his work. Under that topic, this has come. Okay, so we stop here. Om Tava Kathāmritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadatam Bhuyi Grunanti Ye Bhurida Jana. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.